Hi everyone, it's Kim from Living the Ground Life, and today it's time to talk about tomatoes. It's only January. No, I'm not starting my tomatoes yet, but I am starting the whole thought of what tomatoes am I going to grow this year? What made the list? Who gets to be planted this year for us? I start all my tomatoes from seed. I will not start them until March. Usually first, second week of March is when I start the seeds indoors, and they don't get planted out till May. But the list has started. I am deciding what I'm going to grow. A lot of you are asking me, what tomato plants are you growing this year, Kim? And instead of messaging all of you or telling you all when I start them, I thought a video today would be great. So here are the tomatoes that made my list. Now, Mike is not a super big fan of other than red tomatoes, so I do a lot of red tomatoes. I like them all, but Mike prefers the red. I can a lot of my tomatoes, so we're really going with a lot of red this year. First on the list is Burpee's Big Boy. I have grown this one for years. I like it. It's a solid tomato. They all are uniform. They're pretty. It grows really well. It's a hybrid. I don't grow a lot of hybrids, but this one is always on my list. It just grows really, really well for me here. It is a red tomato too. Brandywine. I love Brandywine tomatoes. They grow big. They're consistent. They're a little slow to get started. This one is a potato leaf tomato, so it's a little bit different than other tomatoes and the way the plant looks, but it grows well. It's always a delicious tomato, so this is definitely on the list. Abe Lincoln. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw the picture last year. I'll try to dig it up, of my biggest tomato ever grown. It was an Abe Lincoln. These guys take a little while to ripen up, but when they do, they are massive, they are healthy, they are strong, and just a beautiful tasting tomato. So this one is always on the list too. Similar, classic beefsteak, same thing. This Mike likes a tomato slice on a sandwich. He likes a big fat red tomato, so this is what we do a lot of. You know, these just classic big red tomatoes. They do take longer to ripen here, so you know, we have to have some other tomatoes to kind of fit in between until these are all done. But then I have massive of them. I'm picking 50 pounds of tomatoes, canning like crazy in that late summertime. Paul Robeson, this is a black tomato, delicious flavor. I really like it. It matures sooner. It's a good plant. It does really well. We have an exceptional amount of them on the plant, and so I always like to grow this one. Carbon, this is another one. It's supposed to be a black tomato. It seems like it's always red for me. It's a little bit earlier of ripening than those other big red ones for me. I don't know why mine are always red. I don't know if it's just the seed packet I have. I've been growing these ones for a couple years, so it might be that, and I might be disappointed the next time I have to grow them, but it's a good intermediate size red tomato. So all of these are indeterminate size too. You know, they're just going to grow and grow and grow and grow. They're not set with a certain height and a certain amount of tomatoes. As long as I've got warm weather and my plants don't get disease, they keep growing. Cherokee Purple, another one I really enjoy. It is a delicious big tomato with that kind of smoky flavor to it, which I enjoy. I do have one orange one, Dr. Winchie's. I had a hard time deciding. I really like Dad's Sunset as well. And I like the orange tomato. I like to have a tomato sandwich with different colored tomatoes. I know it sounds funny, but I like all the different flavors, the orange, in red, different acid levels, plus that little bit smoky of a black one. I picked Dr. Winchie's. It just grows a little bit better. The Dad Sunset grows beautiful tomatoes. It just doesn't get as big, and I don't get as many. And if I'm just going to do one, this is the one I just decided to do this year. But I do like Dad Sunset a lot as well. I'm not growing a ton of tomatoes. I just find that I end up with so many cherry tomatoes. I'm feeding them to the chickens, to the pigs, and I have way more cherry tomatoes than I know what to do with, and I'm making different things with it. And so this year I'm just gonna take it down a notch. I'm not gonna do as many cherry tomatoes. I'm gonna go with the ones I really, really like and enjoy those versus taking up space of 5 or 6 different cherry tomatoes that I never ever can dream of eating enough of. My favorite always are Sun Gold. I love Sun Gold tomatoes. They are delicious. They're predictable. Tons of them. They grow really well. I love this tomato. And equally so for a red one, Sweet Million it's prolific. It is delicious. It's consistent. I don't get disease on them. Both the Sun Gold and the Sweet Million I get from Territorial Seed Company, and they just always do really well. This one I've grown for a couple years now. It is by Proven Winners and is called Good Hearted. I just kind of fell upon this one year. It is a dwarf tomato. It is small. It only gets says 8 to 12 inches. I would say mine get probably bigger than 12 inches usually, probably about 18 inches height and width. They get good size, and they are loaded with tomatoes. And I have these tomatoes usually by the beginning of July, which my other ones are more towards the end of July. These are definitely, I get sooner than my other tomatoes. And their flavor is not comparable to the Sweet Million or the Sun Gold. However, to have garden fresh tomatoes weeks earlier, when you haven't had them for, 9 months, they taste delicious, and you don't even really realize that they're a little bit less until those other ones come in. But they grow really well. They start early. Their flavor's good. It's just not wowzers over the top. So I like that one. Some new ones I'm going to try this year. So I've never grown any of these. Excuse me. So new this year to me is the Bradley tomato. I got this one from trueleafmarket.com. And I can't remember who I saw post about these. I wish I could remember, and I jotted it down, but I didn't. It is... I've heard that they're a good tomato. They're a little bit smaller, uniform size, but that they grow really prolifically. And I'm hoping that these ones I get just a little bit earlier than those big red ones that just take a little bit longer to ripen. I don't usually do paste tomatoes, but I do so much canning that this year I decided I'm going to try some paste tomatoes. Just to see how they can. I usually just take all my tomatoes, put them together to can them. And I don't can multiple different things. I can, sorry, Frenchies. I can my tomatoes, just tomatoes. I don't make a paste. I don't make a spaghetti sauce. I don't make just a sauce. I just can tomatoes, nothing else in there, just the tomatoes. I do make a salsa and can that, but then everything else is just tomatoes, and then I can make whatever I want from it. So with the big heirloom tomatoes, it is somewhat watery, and sometimes I do have to pour some of that water off depending on what I'm making. And sometimes I have to add some paste, which I would just get store-bought. All the work that goes into canning paste tomato it's just not worth it to me, so I don't do it. And but this year I decided I'm going to try a couple paste tomatoes, and I'll keep them separate to can just to see if I like that a little bit better for things that I need just a little bit thicker of a tomato, a little less seed. I don't take the seed out when I can them. I do take the skins off, but not the seeds. I don't find that it's bitter. I know some people do, but it doesn't bother me. It makes a good spaghetti sauce, a good chili, good lasagna, which is primarily what I am using those tomatoes for. So I went with a good old Amish paste tomato. And then I also heard really good things about the Korean long. I have never grown this. I've never seen it. I've never tasted it. So this is new this year for me to try. So I don't have my seed packet yet, but I heard about this one. It is from Territorial Seed, Silence. It is a smaller tomato, red. I am going to try an experiment with this, and there'll be more to come on that. I said that I don't start my tomato seeds till till March, and then they don't go outside till May. This tomato plant right here was designed by one of the universities, I think OSU in Oregon, and it is said it was designed or bred to be grown on the coastal area of Oregon, which is much cooler, wet, damp, doesn't have a hot summer, and this is what this was designed to do, is to grow tomatoes in that kind of weather. So I'm going to do an experiment, guys. When I get these seeds, I'm going to start them, and I am going to start growing it inside and outside over the spring to see if I can get tomatoes even earlier than I ever have. I don't know if it'll work. I will do a video. I will show you, but it's going to be a blended of being inside when it's under a certain temperature, outside when it's a certain temperature, and let's see if we can grow tomatoes before middle of summer. So I'll keep you posted on it. I'll do a video. It's going to be a great experiment. Couple no's that I have. I'm just going to run over these really quickly for you. I'm not saying these are bad tomatoes. These just aren't my favorite tomatoes. I've grown all of these, and they just made the no list this year. Fresh Salsa is a hybrid. I just don't get very many tomatoes off of this one. It's not that the flavor's bad. It's just it just doesn't produce for the amount of space it takes and the amount of tomatoes it gives me. It just doesn't produce a lot. Black Prince tomato, again, a good tomato. I just picked other black tomatoes over that one. It's not that it's bad. Lucky Tiger, I grew this one a couple years ago. I have not grown it again. It had tons of tomatoes on it. They're longer. They're not a cherry tomato. They're not a grape tomato. They're longer. They have really tough skin. Hard to know when they're ripe. Tons and tons of tomatoes. The thing kept falling over. I had to keep pinning it up. It just wasn't my favorite tomato. Brad's Atomic Grape. I've heard lots of great things about this. They weren't for me. Again, another one is hard to know exactly when they're ripe. The skin was really tough. Just not the flavor I'm going for. White Currant, prolific. If you like white tomatoes, this thing grows a bazillion. I mean, hands down, the most cherry tomatoes I have ever had on a plant. I couldn't keep up. They taste good. There's just so many tomatoes. Mike doesn't care for the white tomatoes. Way more tomatoes than I want. And it grows and grows and grows. Was constantly having to pin it up, fix it, falling over. Just wasn't my favorite tomato. Thornburg's Terracotta. It was okay tomato, nothing to scream about for me. Other ones made the list. Dad's Sunset, already talked about this one. I like it. Tastes good. Beautiful, healthy, strong tomatoes. Just doesn't grow as many tomatoes as the Dr. Winchy. So for the space, I'd rather grow Dr. Winchy's and have more tomatoes. It's not a bad one though. Black Crim, another one. If Mike liked more of the black tomatoes, I'd grow more. I really like them. I just don't need that many. White Tomasil. Not overly impressed with it. The tomatoes don't get very big. They're small. Flavor's okay. Just not one of my favorites. Black Strawberry. I grew these last year. First time. Skins were really tough. They took forever to ripen. Didn't get a ton of them before it was just time for the season to be over. Black Cherry, I like this one. It just is, I have grown it for 2 years now. they just don't do well for me in the seedling process. I often have to reseed these ones, and they're a little bit behind everything else for whatever reason. And then it's just slower to come. It doesn't produce near as many tomatoes. It's not a bad tomato. It tastes delicious. It just doesn't grow well for me. I told you I don't want to do lots of cherry tomatoes this year, and this just doesn't compare to the Sun Gold or the Sweet Million. So I'm not doing it. I may do a spoon tomato. This one, I can't decide. Should I do it, guys? This one is, they're teeny tiny. They're so cute. They're tasty. They're beautiful in little salads or pasta salads. I might do it. I don't know. We'll just have to decide. I can't decide on this one, so tell me what you think. Should I grow it or not? They're cute, and they're tasty, but it wasn't on my original list, but it's kind of poking at me, so maybe I will. Sorry, Frenchies again. So, this is what I'm growing. I am in Southwest Washington. I am about 60 miles north of Portland, Oregon. I am a Zone 8B. I have my last frost, they say, is April 20th this year, so I will be planting plants out probably mid-May. Of course, you never know in our springs. May could be warm, May could be rainy and cold, so I won't know for sure until then. I will start my tomatoes indoors from seed with grow lights, depending on whether they might go out to the hoop house. They might stay inside till I put them out. It's always weather dependent, but this is the seeds I'm growing. These are the tomatoes I'm committing to this year. And if you haven't ordered your tomato seeds yet, get them ordered. Stuff's selling out. So I love M.I. Gardner. I love Baker Creek. I love Territorial Seed. I like Proven Winners. I also like Haas Tools. I just don't have any tomatoes from them. But it doesn't matter where you get them from, guys. Get them at the dollar store if you need to. Just get some, get your seeds ordered. It's going to be another year of seeds selling out because of the uncertainty in our economics and our food chain. And everyone should be growing a garden. It's fun. It's rewarding. It's frustrating at times, yes, but it's well worth it, and you can do it. There's so many people out there to help you. I'm here to help you. You can learn it, so really think about it. Even if you just do a couple container plants on your back porch or deck, you don't have to have some huge garden. You don't have to invest tons of money in it. You can do this. Really think about growing some of your food this summer. It's well worth it. It's so rewarding, and it's delicious because grocery store produce is nothing compared to what you grow. Unless you're shopping at the farmer's market all the time, you don't even know how delicious it is to grow your own food. So get some seeds orders, guys. Can you believe it's 2023? The new year's here. It's time to start thinking about your garden. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I did put some seeds in a tray. You might be able to see them back here behind me. Some brassicas that I just started yesterday, and I'll get them started here in the house. And then once they're a couple inches, I will get them out in the hoop house where they'll grow great. Once we have about 11 hours of sunlight a day, then everything will start growing again if it's warm enough for them. And in the hoop house, it's warm enough for me. So that 11-hour mark is of sunlight is where stuff really starts to grow again, especially that cold weather stuff. So start thinking about if you want to get some stuff in the ground to grow the cool weather crops for early spring eating, okay? So have a great day, guys. Go live your dream, because that's what we do. We live in our dream on the river and just having a fantastic life. Thanks for watching, and see you again soon.